And we welcome you to another edition of Hornet Football Weekly here on the campus of Sacramento State from our studios. I'm your host, Jason Ross, and we welcome you to another edition. We're going to have a lot to cover today, including a recap of the win against Idaho State. We'll look ahead to Southern Utah. Our sports spotlight this week is women's volleyball, and we'll chronicle our player of the week. That's all coming up. But as always, we welcome in the head coach, Marshall Spurbeck. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jason.
Great win, but an emotional couple of weeks for the Hornets. I know it's been a little bit of a trying time for the program, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, the word has gotten out, regarding John Bloomfield, and he's still in the hospital and fighting for his life. And our thoughts and prayers and our team is with him and thinking about him constantly and just wishing the best is in a tough situation.
It's tough all the way around, obviously, the situation. How have you as a coaching staff handled it? How have the players handled this too?
I think everybody's handled it the best way you can, just by supporting each other, supporting the Bloomfield family, and just trying to stay positive as much as we can.
And I know it's something that, for the players, probably, something for them that's hard to go through, and even for you guys, you guys are a family. That's something you've preached, and I can only imagine how it's been for you guys for the 2 weeks, and trying to even focus on football when you know there's other things on your mind.
Well, I think our guys have been able to stay focused on the task at hand, and obviously, we all have things going on in our lives and things outside of football, and we all carry that with us on a daily basis. But when it comes time to go to school and go to football practice and take care of your other things, you have to be able to shift your gear and get on track and take care of what's at hand.
And I know one thing that certainly with John, played with a great spirit and a fire. You guys were able to display that against Idaho State, something that I know had to make you proud.
Absolutely, and I know that there's a lot of kids that were writing his number on their sweatbands and their jerseys, and there was a lot of thought going into the game about John, how he was doing, and how our guys wanted to play for him and play with the same kind of energy and passion that John has always played with.
Well said. We'll continue to have those thoughts and prayers, certainly for John Bloomfield, for the Hornet program. And we'll look at that win, the recap of the Idaho State win. That's coming up next here on Hornet Sports Weekly.
Academics is a top priority at Sac State.
Academics is why I choose Sac State.
Sac State students have many opportunities
to work in the community and get real-world experience.
Just ask any Sac State student or alumni.
Sac State professors are the best.
Professors work directly with the students in the classroom and the laboratory.
I want to study mass communications.
I want to teach,
to learn,
to grow,
to be a leader.
Sac State is a great place to learn.
Leadership begins here.
Academics begin here.
Well, we like reviewing games like this for the Sacramento State Hornets, beating Idaho State this last weekend, 54-31. Welcome back into the show. Jason Ross once again with the head coach, Marshall Spurbeck. Coach, pretty complete win. Took a little while for the Hornets to get going, but by the end, it was a very nice win for you guys.
Yeah, I thought we really did a nice job of coming back out the second half and finishing up things and really playing with a lot of good energy throughout the whole game.
We got a lot of footage this week. There was a lot of memorable plays. I'm going to start out with one of my favorites in the game was a screen pass, goes to Ezekiel Graham. Such a weapon, over 100 yards again. But, Coach, this was beautiful all the way around.
Yeah, we get Ezekiel lined up outside behind the receivers. They're just trying to set up a little screen, and he does a great job of making their whole team miss at some point there. And you see the block by Vince Weaver, and then Garrett Saffron gets into the mix, and we pick up a little caravan there, and off we go. Ezekiel, about 75-yard touchdown run.
What a weapon, though, because 2 straight weeks over 100 yards. That's great. You want that on the ground. But also as a receiver, over 70 yards receiving. So he's developing into something pretty special.
He really is, and we just have to find ways to get him the ball and to keep him going because he's been very electric for us so far.
Last week when we previewed Idaho State, you said you had to get some pressure. We got some footage now of the defense getting some team sacks. I mean, you guys were able to get to the quarterback some, and after a while getting to Yost, and here you got a couple different guys getting shots at the QB.
Yeah, we give them a little zone pressure here where we bring 2 of our linebackers, and I believe it's Henry Fernandez and Jeff Badger both landing home there on the quarterback. And I thought we did a nice job of that all day and mixing up our pressures and giving them different looks. And you'll see here in a minute where we actually get an interception off one of those same types of pressures.
Yeah, we'll go to that one here because you knew they were going to throw. We expected 50, 55 passes, 73 passes, but you had different guys, different looks in the second half, and I think our next one is an interception, but it's by Ben Calgert dropping back into coverage. I think this play that we've got coming up here was really a lot of credit to him and the scheme.
Yeah. It's similar to the pressure we just saw, except we bring the safety and the linebacker, and then we drop both ends, and Ben's sitting right there in the flat ready to pick up the ball, and they throw it right to him. It's a nice play by Ben, being very reactionary there as he had it land in his lap, and he knew what to do with it after he caught it.
I know you guys gave up 31, but it still felt like a strong defensive performance when they were so, I mean, rushing yards, they were negative. They did nothing, and you knew they were going to throw. And, you know, they're a team that can convert passes, too, so it really created a challenge for you guys.
Yeah, when you throw the ball, 70 times or whatever it was, you're gonna move it a little bit. And the nice thing is that we did keep their run game in check, and we kept them from scoring. You know, they moved the ball up and down the field, but we kept them out of the end zone on most occasions. We went one spurt there in the second half where we forced them to punt 4 times, and we had 2 turnovers. So that was kind of the turning point, I thought.
All right, our next highlight, I'll admit it, I'm armchair quarterback. This play, Garrett Saffron's rolling out. It's 3rd down, still a close game. I'm thinking, Garrett, run the ball. I'm glad he chose to do differently and throw to a wide open Shane Harrison.
Coach Peterson and I are both saying the same thing. Run, run, run. You got the first down, and all of a sudden it's run, run, run. Good job, because he found Shane wide open, about 45-yard touchdown pass there. Great play by Garrett. Good vision of seeing the whole field.
All right, couple scheme-wise offensively. We hadn't seen you guys run 2 backs, but we hadn't seen Coleman, the freshman, Deshaun Coleman, and Ezekiel Graham together that much. We saw it this week. It worked beautifully. Our next highlight is the first carry for your freshman, Deshaun Coleman. It works for a touchdown. Yeah,
this is a nice job up front by our line. They really open up a nice hole, and Deshaun hits it north and south like he's supposed to, and he's off to the races. It's pretty exciting for him as a freshman coming in, getting his first carry and scoring on it. And then he actually scored again on a second carry, but unfortunately it was called back.
So we had Ezekiel here last week, to have him, to have Ellis, to have now Coleman and Sam McCowan. Depth is great, but you got a lot of guys there.
We do, and it's a good problem to have. The tough thing is figuring out all the different ways to get these guys the ball, because they're all very special in their own way. They all have different set of tools, and we just want to be able to utilize all of them and keep them all going. We're very fortunate right now to have a good group.
All right, we're going to show more love for that Hornet defense. Another interception here, Coach. Again, you throw the ball 73 times, he's going to have success. But here's Osagi doing a good job jumping a route here.
Another, this time we bring the safety. We have the safety getting in the face. Ryan McMahon does a good job of tipping the ball, and Osagi's there to make the play. And once again, we get the ball in good field position for the offense, and that's important. We got to be able to play together, and I think our special teams, defense, offense all complemented each other very well in this game, and that was a good example of it.
Yeah, and then just to stretch it out, I mean, Idaho State's at home. It's their homecoming. They had all those horns going the entire game, but you have to get that back-breaking touchdown. We've got that one. If the game was in doubt at all, you go to A.J. Ellis, and here, I mean, more great blocking up front, but Ellis found a way to finish this.
Yeah, we're trying to run out the clock here. It's at the end of the game, and we just want to get a first down, and AJ pounds it up in there, and he doesn't see anything, gets outside, and he's gone. That's his strength. He's strong. He can run up in between the tackles, and then he shows once he broke outside, he's got the speed to score. So great run by AJ.
We're showing a lot of offensive scores, some defensive highlights. How great is it to have a kicker? Our Player of the Week's coming up, Edgar, to have 4 field goals kicked in the game.
He was National Special Teams Player of the Week, as well as being Big Sky Player of the Week. So 4 field goals, 6 touchbacks, and 6 extra points. He had a heck of a game.
And you put up 54 points. I mean, all coaches love the points, but it just seemed like the offense had a really good rhythm last week.
Yeah, I thought we did too. And, I thought we moved the ball well. We had a good blend of run and pass. And like I said, I think when we're operating on all cylinders, offense, defense, special teams, everybody playing together, just it feeds each other. And I think we saw the end result being very productive because of it.
And now the challenge, like any coach, repeating it. Now Southern Utah. We'll talk about that a little bit coming up. That'll be the next opponent for the Hornets. But up next, our Player of the Week, Edgar Castaneda. Coach mentioned him, 4 field goals. He joins us next here on Hornet Football Weekly.
He looks right, it's a fade pattern toward Green.
Back here on Hornet Football Weekly, it's time to honor our Player of the Week, and so many candidates really this last week against Idaho State. We got a lot of choices, but we're going to bring in Edgar Castaneda. I'm your host, Jason Ross, along with Marshall Spurbeck, and our Player of the Week, Edgar Castaneda. Welcome to the set. So, Edgar, Player of the Week for us, Player of the Week for the Big Sky, National Player of the Week. Pretty good week for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing how everything worked out. I'm just really glad everything happened.
Well, and I know, Coach, I'm seeing the mild-mannered Edgar. What happened here? We've got the intense, mean Edgar here on our set.
I think that's his game face when he gets ready to go out and kick. He gets a little more serious.
Well, I know it's been a pretty special season for you so far, Edgar. 4 field goals this last week. We all know the story about the game-winning kick at Colorado. What's it been like for you so far halfway through your first season as a Hornet? I'm sure it's been pretty amazing.
Yeah, everything's just been a great experience, and I just have to keep focused on making my kicks and just doing what I'm supposed to do my job.
You know, Coach, he's doing his job and then some. I mean, for you to count on him 4 times from 50, from close, I mean, it's a weapon you guys have.
Yes, Edgar's had a very good season so far, and I think the thing he's done best is kept it all in perspective. He's a very mild-mannered kid, and he really understands that each kick is a new adventure, and he's got to get himself mentally ready to go out each time and do his job, and he's really done a nice job of keeping his focus each game and really each kick.
Well, let's look at some of your kicks this last week, Edgar, against Idaho State. The first one you line up for here, it's about a 40-yarder. Kind of take us through your thought process when you're lining up for a kick.
Well, I was just like every kick, I just stay there, take my steps, take a deep breath, and just focus on making the kick. And I just give a lot of credit to my holder, Jimmy, and my holder, Mason.
Yeah, and that's an important element, too. I mean, we all look at the kick, Coach, but Bobek, the snapper, Magleby, the holder, I mean, all elements have to be right.
Yeah, all 11 guys. I mean, the protection and the snap, the hold, the kick, it all works together, and we've been very successful so far this year in all those areas, and we've got to continue to get better at it and continue to get points from that group.
All right, let's look at your second one, Edgar. This one's a shorter one, about 25 yards. Does distance matter when it's this close? Because sometimes there are harsh angles. This one's more at the right hash. You kind of have to guide this one through.
Yeah, I mean, I just got to keep focusing. It's just a PAT. I mean, it doesn't really matter if it's short, it's just another PAT. You just got to keep focusing.
And I know those were the words he said after the Colorado game. It was a little bit more than just a PAT, wasn't it, Coach?
Well, I'm just laughing because I've only talked to Edgar twice during a game. Once was at Colorado, and he says just an extra point, Coach. And then the other day I asked him if he was good from 50. He says just an extra point, Coach. So as long as he keeps telling me that, I've got all the faith in the world. So.
Well, we've got a couple more because, again, 4 field goals against Idaho State. Here's another kind of different look at this next kick, a 30-yard attempt for you. And I don't know if you just felt in a rhythm. Did you feel better inside Holt Arena this last week?
Yeah, everything just felt right. I felt like I was being consistent, and feel like I would just have to keep doing everything right. And
is it weird on your line of sight that the goalposts dangle from the roof, and there's no other place really like it? It's still the same premise, but just looks weird.
Yeah, I mean, then I have the upright, the one in the middle, so it was just kind of weird, but I just can't really focus on that. I just have to focus on my job and not worry about it. Well,
here's the PAT from 50 yards, the last one, Edgar. We'll give you credit for the 50-yarder. I mean, one of the 4 Hornets ever to do that, and only the 3rd Hornet ever to have 4 field goals in a game. Coach, this is a bomb here from 50.
And he nailed it right down the middle. As you can see, Danny there giving us the signal. So that was a great kick.
Yeah, so 4 field goals. And, Coach, we almost have to rewind to, Edgar, to the story after Colorado. Obviously, a landmark win for the team. You go into the locker room after Edgar kicks the game-winning kick, and kind of take us back through that special moment.
Well, when Edgar came here, we had told him that he was coming in to compete for the job, and he was a walk-on, and we said if you were able to earn the job, that we would reward you with some scholarship money. So after the game, in that kick and the moment and everything, I just felt like he was very deserving, and he had earned it. And shoot, to make that kind of kick, I figured it was a very good investment. So we rewarded him with a scholarship, and he's still paying dividends for us each week.
Absolutely. What was that like for you? Obviously, for one, to be part of a great moment, to be a hero of the game, and then the financial reward for you and your family. How great was that for you?
It was a huge release for me and my family. It meant a lot for us because financially we're not in a good position, and with that, it was just amazing.
And I know your family gets to come up for the home games, so we wish many more games and years, another year ahead, Coach, for Edgar, and many more games of success. Congratulations on this week, and keep knocking them through those PATs, right, Coach?
Yep, just keep kicking PATs and we'll be in good shape.
Congratulations, Edgar. All right, that's Edgar Castaneda joining us here. When we come back, we're going to look into the next game, Southern Utah, tough opponent. They're now in the Big Sky. We'll preview that. That's straight ahead here on Hornet Football Weekly.
What light does gets in your head. You can't avoid it. You can't escape it. Because what light does weighs on you. Do what light does in the 7.9 ounce Audi 05 Star.
All right, now let's look ahead to the next opponent. This Saturday, the Hornets on the road again. Southern Utah, it seems like the Hornets have been on the road quite a bit. Welcome back in here to our set at Sacramento State. Coach, road theme. We've been seeing this for a while, but you guys have handled the road pretty well. Now you go to Southern Utah this week.
Yeah, we're excited about it. It's another opportunity to play and going against a good football team, a 1 o'clock afternoon game, so that's always good to get home a little bit earlier. So our guys get used to it. We travel well, and we do a good job of kind of keeping it the same routine every week. So I anticipate us taking it on and being fine with the whole travel thing.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Southern Utah. Last year you played him, so you're very familiar with him. Brad Sorensen, he is a really good quarterback. We got some footage of him, and I know there's going to be a lot of reps with him throwing the ball, average about 250 yards throwing per game, and maybe the best quarterback in the conference, or at least one of them.
He is definitely one of the top quarterbacks in the country, really. I mean, he's played the last couple of years. He seems like he's been there forever, and he's really had a great career, and I'm sure he'll continue to have opportunities to play after college as well. He's certainly a very talented quarterback.
And there's one of his deep passes down the right side of the field. We're going to see another one here coming up in a moment from Sorensen, working different receivers. I mean, he doesn't have a go-to guy. It seems like a guy that will find backs, tight ends, receivers. He'll find them all, like this one again, now throwing to the left.
Yeah, this is one thing that he does a really good job with is the long ball. He puts a lot of air underneath it, gives his receivers a chance, and they have a nice offense. You know, they spread it around. They'll keep a nice balance of run and pass, and you have to defend the whole field when you play them.
All right, you mentioned the run. Our next clip is of the running back, Brian Wilson, his longest run of the year. This is a home game again, and they've had to play some tough teams. They played Utah State, they've played Cal, and here they're at home, and here's a nice run by Brian Wilson.
Yeah, and they run the ball well at times, and we have to be prepared for both the run and the pass. And I think one of the things they've done a little differently than what they've done in the past is they've seemed to be throwing a little bit more off the run game and running the ball more out of two-back sets. And you know, they're a little bit different, but yet they're still going to keep a good mesh of run and pass.
Now, Coach Peterson's your offensive coordinator. He came from Southern Utah. Is that a resource you can tap to at least gain some extra knowledge for this week?
I think so. You know, Coach Peterson was there for 4 years, and he had the opportunity to practice with them, to be in their meetings, and to get a good feel for what they do. And I'm sure they'll have a feel for what Coach Peterson likes, too. It works both ways. But we'll try to do whatever we can to get the most out of Coach Peterson and what he might know about Southern Utah.
All right, one more clip we have here, again, of the quarterback, Brad Sorensen, will clearly be kind of the number one guy you're going to have to highlight. But as I'm looking at this, one thing I want to point out, the field turf, something that they didn't have last year. Difference, I mean, it was really thick grass last year.
It was, you know, especially after playing the week before at Oregon State on the field turf, to come back out there and play on the 3-inch grass was a lot different, and I'm glad that they do have field turf. Everybody seems to have it now. It's what our kids are used to playing on. It's what we play on all the time. So it'll be a fast surface, and that suits us well.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck certainly this week. I know we'll have another segment with you coming up when we come back. We'll also check in with the Hornet Sports Spotlight this week. Ruben Volta, the women's volleyball coach, he will join us next. We'll have another segment with Marshall Spurbeck as well. That's all coming up here on Hornet Football Weekly.
Going to Sac State was really a rite of passage for the beginning of the rest of my life. I'm very happy that we brought one of the world's largest video game companies here to Sacramento.
I started Sleep Train after graduating Sac State in 1984. It's really what built the foundation of who I am today.
I think that Sac State has made me into a leader. Most importantly, I think it's made me into a confident individual. I'm open to any opportunities. I'm Laura Gonzalez.
I'm Dale Carlson.
I'm Mark Otero, and I was made at Sac State.
All right, now it's time for this week's Hornet Sports Spotlight, and then we're talking a little women's volleyball. Welcome back into the show. I'm Jason Ross. We're joined by Ruben Volta, head coach of the women's team. Coach, year 5. I was just talking with Marshall Spurbeck how quickly it goes. Your season's underway. It's kind of rolling right along, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing how fast it goes. Not just 5 years, but here we are already almost done with the first half of conference play. So.
Well, now the important part is the second half is coming. You got a couple more home games, critical home games this week. Tell us about the season. I know there have been some injuries, but kind of get Hornet fans caught up on how the year's gone so far.
Yeah, you know, we played most of our conference schedule on the road, so we're really looking forward to coming home this weekend, and then we go right back on the road for 2, and then we finish the season. I think 6 out of our last 8 games are at home, so we're really looking forward to coming back and playing at home in front of a good crowd. So.
Yeah, I know we've got some footage of your team, and you know, when we talk about the 2012 women's volleyball team, what would you say is the strength of this year's team?
You know, I think our blocking, I don't know, I think we're ranked in the top 10 for sure. I think somewhere around 7th in blocks per set. It's fed off our serving. I think we're a really good serving team, and it sort of helps our block, but for sure we've been a really good blocking team this year.
And we're seeing home footage here against Eastern Washington. You mentioned, I mean, over the last couple of years, I'm seeing stats 14-4 at home against conference play. What do you attribute that to, your success at home?
You know, it's hard to say. We certainly play with more confidence at home. It may be a difficult place to play for opponents. You know, I think they come in and maybe we're the only C-level team in the conference. I don't know if that has something to do with it. We do play on a sport court. It's sort of bright gold and green when you walk in, so I don't know if opponents don't like that or what. But, I mean, we certainly play better at home. So.
I want to talk about the injuries because it affects every team. I know you would never use it as an excuse, but it gives an opportunity for other players. Jesse Ganger getting hurt means a freshman, other people get an opportunity to come in. I know we've got some footage here as well, but talk about overcoming injuries and getting opportunities for other players.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not just Jess. We've had a few other players as well, so we've done some shuffling. You know, we're playing some freshmen on the outside, and the outside's a tough position. You see a lot of balls out there, just the nature of the game. You know, and Jesse provided a lot of offense for us in the preseason, and so I think we're still trying to find a fix for that, I suppose.
Individually, what does someone like Janelle Curry mean to this team? Over 1,000 kills, 1,000 career digs, 3 years as a captain. What has she meant to you in the program?
You know, she's such an excellent player and so underrated, I think. And she does so many things well for us that I think go unnoticed, especially to the casual volleyball fan. But she's an extremely intelligent player, knows the game really well, an exceptional blocker for her size. You know, we initially recruited her to potentially come in and be a libero, a defensive player, and here she started every game of her career as an outside hitter for us, and she carries a big load for us offensively, defensively. She's in our serve-receive rotation, so she does everything for us.
So this week, big week, to kind of get things back on track. You mentioned the home schedule, but Idaho State, Weber State coming in. Do you feel like as coach this is the time to kind of get things back on the track you want it to be?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, you have to win games, so, yeah. And being at home hopefully is going to help that. And we're looking at this being a little turning point for us and get off our losing streak here and get things turned around. And at home we feel pretty comfortable that we're able to do that. So
I know Portland State, one of the better teams in the conference. I'm looking at that, a game that you could have won. It comes down to the final set. So when you see yourself competing against the league's best, do you feel like, I mean, you're really that close?
Yeah, actually there's just really good parity in our league. And the last couple of years I think the Big Sky volleyball teams have all gotten so much better. And I mean, I watch all the teams on tape and it's all so close. And, you know, last year we beat all the top 3 teams in our conference at home 3 straight sets. And you know, then you go on the road and you lose a couple of close matches to some other teams in the bottom half of the conference. And it's not necessarily an easy conference from top to bottom. So.
Yeah. And we know we want to get a lot of people out there Friday and Saturday certainly, and just being at home, getting that continuity again, kind of getting some success, I think will help this team.
Absolutely, and I think on Friday we're doing a little autograph session afterwards with our players, so that'll be sort of a fun environment. I think it's a youth night or kid night or something, so there should be a lot of young fans there for us, and hopefully making a lot of noise and making it a little difficult for the opponents to hear what's going on out there.
Well, Coach, I hope there's some healthier times for your team and some better times ahead. Thank you for joining us, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's Ruben Volta. We will take the break here, come back. We're going to wrap things up with Marshall Spurbeck, as we'll have a final segment with the coach. That's coming up here on Hornet Football Weekly. All right, final segment back here on Hornet Football Weekly. Again, our thanks to Edgar Castaneda, our Player of the Week, joining us. Also, Ruben Volta, and for Marshall Spurbeck, too. Coach, I'm already nervous. I'm thinking ahead to next week. I'm hearing the President Gonzalez is going to be here. I'm already worried a week out.
I don't think you have anything to worry about. He was on last year and did a great job, and he was kind to you.
Yes,
so
he was.
You should be okay.
Yeah, I won't expect anything different. How about this week? One final thought. Southern Utah this week. Kind of a great opportunity for you guys to just keep things rolling, especially in league. If you can get this one 2-1 with some good home games coming up, including homecoming in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we're just focused right now on trying to get better on Tuesday, and we got to keep that mindset and really try to have a good week of practice. And we have a lot of corrections still to make. We feel like we're still developing as a team, and we've seen great signs at times, and then there's been some moments where we can fix that, and we want to get better. And this week of practice will be key to our success on Saturday.
Well, the one thing I learned today, Coach, it's just a PAT. If you have
Life
that approach,
is a PAT, right? Just one day at a time, and we're very grateful to have Edgar continuing to teach us that.
The words of wisdom from Edgar Castaneda.
Exactly.
That's for sure. All right, Coach, thank you, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
All right, that's Marshall Spurbeck. That's it for us. Join us again next week, and go Hornets this week at Southern Utah. We'll be back to recap that one next week here on Hornet Football Weekly.